So welcome back to Jacob's Learning Channel. We're going to do some polynomial division. 3 quick problems. So when you're here, this is pretty easy. You're just adding straight across, but you cannot add across. If this were a 10, you could. And then you get 5x over 10 because you don't change the variable. And since the bottom does not have a variable, you just leave it. You can only do that if you have a common denominator. Since you do not have a common denominator, you have to get a common denominator, and the way that you get one is you make sure that both terms can go into 10. And that's because 10 is the highest. So that's what you're trying to do. If this were 50, you could still do like 50 and 50. If it were 25, and if this were 25 and this were 10, you'd have a slight problem because the only number would be 5, but 5 isn't as large. 5 is smaller. So you're trying to do the largest common denominator. Some of you call it the GCF. So in this case, you want the greatest common factor. It's an awful F. Sorry about that. You want the greatest common factor. So your greatest common factor here is going to be 10. So anyway, let's go ahead, and since it's 10, let's go ahead and make it 10. So you have 10. 2 times 5 is 10. So 2 times 2 is 4. So that's 4x because it's 2 times this whole problem, the constant and the variable. And this is 1, because 10 goes into itself 1 time, so it's 1 times 3x. Or you could just leave it and pull it down, and then it becomes this. And then you're going to see very easily this is just 7x over 10. Okay, but I went ahead on the next slide. I just showed what happened. Okay? And remember, these notes are downloadable. Okay. So now you have this awful equation, 5m, and you have 2 different constants here. This is an m, this is an m. You cannot combine that. That's not a like term. So you have 12x squared over y. Okay? But you have 10x. No square here, but your y is squared here, but it's not squared here. So you're going to have to do something. Let's go ahead and take care of this. 12 goes into 60 because 12 times 5 is 60. 10 times 6 is 60. So you can just do 60 x y2 as I have here, and this would be 60x squared y. Okay, we will take care of the denominator in a second. Okay, 5 times this 5 is 25m. 6 times this 3 is going to give you over here 18m. 18n. So you have 25m and 18n ready to go, and there they are here. They're still not like terms, so you can't go 25 minus 18n. We're not trying to combine. We're not multiplying. Keep in mind, this always tells you what to do. It says subtract. You can't subtract like terms. So you're going to have to keep them the same. Now here's where we go. Next slide to get into how to change this denominator. This first term over here was 60x squared, and it was missing a y. This over here was 60x. It was missing a 2, and it was y2. So y2 is already there, and x2 is now here. But guess what? Since this y was missing a 2, you have to take it up. y1 times y1 is y1. Okay, what are you doing here? You're really adding. Y1 powers rule, y1 equals y squared. And if you forget the powers rule, just remember you were missing a y with the square here, so you took it up. And the same thing over here, you were missing an x with the square, so you took it up. That's all you did. And then you kept your common denominator the same. Download this if you want, because this is a hard concept, and if you're on the SAT or you're on a test and you miss these small little things, the whole problem's wrong, as unfair as that is. Okay, so now you have 3 over x plus 1 minus 5 over x minus 2. And you've got to combine both of those on both sides. You know why? Because you need a common denominator. And since it's a variable, you have x plus 1 on one side, x minus 2 on the other side, so you combine them. Now, all this in purple tells you how to. Because you don't have this x minus 2 that was here, you have to take it up here, and you make it x minus 2, excuse me. So it was done here for you in purple, and in that way you can bring this whole x plus 1, x minus 2. Don't get rid of the brackets yet. You don't have an x plus 1 over here, so you have to bring it over here. It's 5, x plus 1, and then your denominator is the same. 3 times x minus 2. 5 times x plus 1. Keep your denominator the same for now. And here are the steps on the side. Okay, so your common denominators are the same on both sides of the equation. Now you can take care of your numerator. It's a distributive property. So 3 times x is 3x, that's what's here. And this 3 minus 2, keep in mind this is negative 2, it's still going to leave this negative 6. Same thing over here, 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 1 is 5. This is a mess now, because you can only do like terms, and you, please, for God's sake, don't forget this guy. That's a negative, which makes, when you get ready to combine your like terms, that makes this a positive 3, and this is a negative 5x. And you can only combine like terms. So 3x minus 5x is negative 2x, and this then becomes negative 6 minus 5, negative 11. That's your answer. Negative 2x minus 11x, and you keep your common denominator. And if you wanted to go into Algebra 2 and solve it differently and start cross multiplying, you could, but for right now, we're at Algebra 1. This is where we stop. Thanks for watching.